What up? Welcome back
Welcome back.
to another episode of Wheel to Wheel. We're in the off season, but dude, it's approaching quickly. We got Bahrain in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So most of the cars have now officially hit a track and got some racing. As we're recording this now, the Williams has officially hit the track. I think it was the last car to basically get on a racetrack in general and actually turn on the motor, which is a little scary for me, but I'm feeling pretty good.
It's all right. Yeah.
Besides that, nothing new that I can think of besides you might be able to dive in this a little bit better, but it's the Mercedes and Red Bull. Something to do with the temperature and the pistons in the new.
I
You haven't driven this yet?
I haven't. I saw that. I haven't gotten into the weeds on that. I think one thing we can touch on is the Aston Martin hit the track, and boy, did it look good. That thing looks aggressive as hell.
Look
until
good.
It broke down.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't even remember. I think it said like the third or the fifth lap, maybe, and it broke down. So are we getting early trouble for the Honda power unit?
Yeah.
Maybe so.
I don't know. I think that's what's going to be interesting is finding out about these power units as we go. But with the new season, we're kind of going to do a little bit of a callback to last year, talk about some teams, kind of run through the grid. Today, we're most likely just going to touch Alpine and Kick, which is now Audi. And we're just going to run through last year's performance, kind of give our summary of kind of what we thought was going to happen, what ended up actually happening, and then if we're a little bit more optimistic or our predictions for the upcoming season. And also, if you're getting into F1, this is a great way to kind of just get a scope on the teams, find out who the drivers are, and see if you kind of jive. But we're starting with the infamous Alpine.
The tractor.
Yeah. The worst team last year. Kind of shockingly, I thought the worst team last year, I thought it was going to be Kick Sauber, without a doubt.
I will say I agree with you on that just because it was Kicks last year. It was like, what are they going to get out of this? And they had a few great races. But we're talking about Alpine, and they had no good races.
Alpine finished with 22 points, and they were off of Kick, who had 70. So, I mean, that's a 48-point gap if my math is quick, and that's pretty egregious. That's pretty bad. They had a bunch of driver troubles early on. I'll pull up right now a picture of the Alpine team for everybody to see. Yep. This is what we're looking at now. Very similar car to last year, but the driver lineup is Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. It was Pierre Gasly the entire time last year, but in the beginning of the season, Jack Doohan was the driver instead of Franco Colapinto, who then subbed in and replaced him after 8 races? No.
I think it was like 4.
4 races. And
I have that pulled up.
What was controversial about this was, okay, they were saying Doohan didn't have the pace. Doohan was performing poorly because he scored 0 points. And then if you were to pull up and go, okay, well, how did Franco do? And you look, this is 2026, but it doesn't really matter because in 2025 he also had 0 points. Franco ended the season without scoring. And I think the biggest thing that we're seeing with Alpine in general is this second driver actually going to be somebody that's quick and somebody who's willing to score points? Pierre Gasly got the most out of this car that was possible. Grant said in the beginning it was a tractor.
Yeah.
So Pierre is fantastic, but it's one of those things where it's like it kind of sucks because he's a great driver, but he seems to be trapped in almost a prison of pink and blue with this Alpine team.
I'd say Pierre Gasly he could. I'm not saying he will, but he could get himself into a Daniel Ricciardo situation where you're just with the wrong team at the wrong time in the prime of your career. He hasn't seen the success really. I mean, maybe he has. He got in the Red Bull seat for 2 days.
That was crazy too.
It was his career. He's been so steady. Like if you remember a couple years ago, he literally didn't crash. Like they have the Destructors Championship, like who wrecks the car the most. Shout out Logan Sargent. But Pierre Gasly literally did like $0 of damage to the race car all year, which is unheard of. I mean, think of all the laps they put in all the conditions they put in, the dude doesn't crash.
Yeah.
Franco,
quite the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, crashes a lot. He's a young buck. I see why he's on the team. I get why they ditched Doohan, but at the same time, I don't. And a note for him, he's a Haas reserve driver now.
Who, Doohan?
Yeah.
Good for him. That's a good spot to be in. Haas, I think, is going to be in a great spot with the Toyota coming in. But one thing I will
They're
say,
gonna lose their guys too.
yeah,
If they keep
they
performing.
definitely will. They definitely will. That's a good call. I mean, if you're new to the sport and you're looking, you're saying, okay, then why the heck is this guy in this seat? To be completely honest, it's likely because of the funding that comes behind him. He's from Argentina, so if you're from Central Latin America, there's a couple big backers. Same guy that backs Sergio Perez. I don't know his name, but they come with a lot of money. So Colapinto replaced a driver for Williams 2 seasons ago, halfway through the season, and really excelled. But on top of that, brought a sponsorship in halfway through the season that was pulled and put on the car. So funding plays a big role in this, and Franco brings the money. I think he's quick too. Like, he showed really good results in the Williams. That was a really bad car that season.
Yeah.
But sadly, somehow his car situation got even worse, which I don't
Got
think any
worse.
of us saw coming at all.
Right. And I don't know, on the sponsor note, I don't know if this is the sponsor, but they did get a new big sponsor this year. It's eToro is their new like exclusive team partner.
Okay.
I don't even know where it is on the car, maybe on the wing
Okay.
back there.
I was just about to say, I was like, I don't see it.
But regardless, that's big funding. That's their new sponsor that they're putting out there as, they're bringing us the bag, so we're going to succeed. Yeah, I mean, I guess going into this year, prediction-wise, they've got to improve, surely. They punted that car last year. They stopped developing it very early on in focus on this year. So hopefully they come out quick. I mean, we all want to see the grid jam-packed tight, cars doing similar times and having similar race pace. So if they can close that gap in the midfield, it's going to be really interesting.
So the biggest thing that I'll say about Alpine is it's a really interesting team, at least for us, because in the mainstream U.S. sports, a lot of professional athletes actually sponsor Alpine. Like, they've invested within Alpine, and like, if they talk about Formula One, they're talking about this team, which is really odd because it's originally a Renault French team. And Grant said they punted on all the car development, and a big thing going into this season is they've completely stopped doing all their engine and power units. So Renault no longer powers the Alpine. The Alpine has switched to Mercedes, which going into 2026 is the talk of the town when it comes to power units. So I think there's a big chance for them to make a really big leap, similar to maybe Williams last year, maybe not fifth place, but I could see them absolutely getting in the mix when it comes to having a competitive car. I have them finishing P7 in my constructor's prediction that I made today on a whim because I got a calendar from my coworkers and I could write in my 10. So I have them performing pretty dang well. I just think it's going to be power unit based. I think that power unit's going to be better. I'm eating all the hype when it comes to the Mercedes power unit. So that's what's going to be really interesting about them. If you've kind of liked Alpine, but you're like, maybe not diehard, following the driver, following Franco, or following Pierre, I think this could potentially be a great season to be an Alpine fan, and a little bit more exciting than it's been in the past because it's a bit more optimistic with a huge change within the team.
Yeah. Now, I mean, engine change. They also have a new team principal, I believe, too. So when you get into all of that, that's like your NFL team selling all the good players off and going for a full rebuild. They're starting from square one, maybe even square zero. They're saying, look, we know we have the money behind this thing. We know we can probably develop fast because Alpine, U.S. folks may not know, but Alpine is a car manufacturer. They make cars in Europe. So like there's money behind this. And yeah, I mean, they have the hype. It's weird, like Adam said, to say that U.S. athletes are investing in this team and not in like a Haas or waiting to invest in Cadillac, which some of them got in before Cadillac became a thought. But yeah, they've got the tools. They truly do. It is, can they build the car that can race?
Team principal is still Flavio Briatore, but that was a halfway through the season situation last year.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of where they're at now. It's not a full punt, but it's definitely a switch up.
Yeah.
All right, moving into the second team of discussion. It's a new team on a grid, but it's just replacing an old team, and the drivers stayed exactly the same. So Kick Sauber was second place last year at the end of the season. And the constructors, I mentioned what their score was. They had 70 points. They had a shockingly good year.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
The year prior, did they even score a point? I think they maybe scored 1 point. Yeah, because Joe scored 1 point or 2 points or something like that. So he like left having had scored points, which was like really big for his career. But yeah, they got a podium with Nico Hülkenberg, his first podium ever in a kick Sauber, which was crazy to see that lime green thing go around.
Hey man, it was the lime racer. It was awesome.
It was really cool. This is an interesting team, but also this is a team that has a lot of hype going into next year just because of the company it's representing. No longer are they Kick, which is the streaming service, correct? Was that what it was based off of?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And then now they're Audi, which everybody's very familiar with. I want to pull up what that's going to look like, because if anybody knows the car from last year, it is a completely different look when it comes to what the team's going to look like. I
mean, honestly, before we get into this, this video is talking on two teams with like two really different winter stories here, right? You've got Alpine that's kind of trying to evolve under some pressure, and you've got a full reinvention here with Kick Sauber going to Audi. Audi, I don't think has ever been in the sport, right? And
I don't think so.
They're going to come in. You got one chance to make a first impression. So I think the first impression on the livery was kind of bad. But
I agree. I think they kind of missed here. It's not great. I don't love this straight line and the idea of like the cut. I just think it looks very blocky, and it almost seems like if you threw it into AI, this is what it would cough up.
Yeah.
But it's not why we're here, Grant.
It's not why we're here.
So
I mean,
this
first thing.
Go
ahead.
No.
The first thing we can hit on here is the one thing that didn't change. Their two drivers. You got Bortoletto.
The no driver suit.
They not revealed their race suit.
No, they haven't revealed the race suit. That is why that is that way, just for everybody's information.
So you got Nico Hülkenberg, who is just in my eyes, a legend who's been around for so long and has been consistent. I mean, not consistently great considering his first podium was last year, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
And then you got promising rookie. Well, not rookie. You got that sophomore year now for Gabby Bortoletto. Dude's a beast. Drove well, scored some points, looked racy. I'm excited to see if this car is fast. I want to see what this kid can do.
I'm with you. And I think what makes it fun is we've talked about the new regulations, but if people can figure out this balance between the battery and the actual engine itself, you're having the advantage. And one of these young guys can figure it out before the veterans. And that can just completely flip how these things go in the order of things. I will say I think Hulk had a hotter start and the Bortoletto had a better finish last year. So I don't know. We'll see where that momentum carries, and we'll see how they both respond and like these new cars. When it comes into this year, I think it's going to be a worse year than last year. There's been a lot of noise coming from Audi basically sharing how, okay, this might have been a lot more than we thought it was going to be. This is quite the project that we're taking over right now.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're limiting expectations already, which in my opinion is not a great sign. I think it's a good thing to limit expectations and not obviously show up to a new sport and be like, dude, podium probably, most definitely like maybe even a couple. It's like I think that's a dangerous game to play.
Yeah.
So I think they're making the right move by kind of already trying to manage expectations, but I do think they're nervous because they're bringing in an automatic fan base with just Audi fans in general when it comes to actual street cars or racing, because they do race in other leagues.
They have good racing heritage. Yeah, different classes, tons of good cars. They do. They bring in a ton of fandom, and it's a huge name, and it's a lot of pressure on them too, just for that they might need to live up to something. So I'm with you. The managing expectations is probably just coming from people that know racing. I mean, look, their team principal is Mattia Binotto.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's been around the block. He was Ferrari's team principal. Or is he head engineer, whatever he is?
Yeah, I think Jonathan Wheatley is their team chief.
So it's Wheatley and Binotto. Binotto is probably
This makes this look way
head
cooler than it
engineers.
actually is when it doesn't have all the sponsors put on it. Yeah, there you go.
But these two guys know the sport. They know this game, and I think it's going to be fun to see them develop a team. I think Binotto got a bad rap those last few years at Ferrari that he couldn't execute and
I would agree.
couldn't do, X, Y, Z. But this is going to give him a chance to kind of revitalize his career as a leader. So, again, this is another one. You have a ton of money behind this thing. Like, they should figure it out. They should be able to develop parts.
With due time.
And yeah, and like they got a lot of wind tunnel time. They were second to last in the constructors.
Yeah, and let's see. I can't remember off the top of my head who's Audi's power unit. They are their power unit. It was Cadillac who's using a Ferrari. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest gamble.
Yeah.
Like
no R&D.
And they have never developed an F1 engine. Obviously, this is completely different than last season, but I think that almost makes it harder because it's not like you have a concrete example to go off of.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest test is how good's the in-house team and can they really pull something together? If you really like Audi, I think it'd be a cool fandom to be a part of, but I do think you are signing up for the long haul. I don't think this is a fandom to pick if you're
wanting immediate success.
Exactly. If you really want that good dopamine hit early, because it's not going to happen. I think you get to invest in a really good young driver.
Yeah, which is a lot of the fun.
Yeah. And you get to see some great racing from Nico, and he's pulled horrible Haas cars into the points time and time again. And the kick car last year, which was not horrible, but it still wasn't great. He still pulled that in the points pretty often. So you just never know.
Both of these guys can drive a slow car. They proved that last year, so I think it'll be fun just to see how this thing moves along.
With timing, I think we can easily touch on Cadillac. Or do you want to do you want to wait on that bad boy?
We can hit them.
I think we hit Cadillac because this is obviously a new team on the grid, but for the first time ever, we're now having officially 11 teams on the grid. And I think when it comes to just the full dynamic change, this is the most exciting one for me. Audi was the most exciting until it kind of hit reality of like, hey, they're developing everything in-house. It's not really a big shift from a kick Sauber. And now we're sitting here and it's like, okay. Cadillac just announced they got Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas as their driver lineup, who's like, if you're a fan, these are two fan favorites.
Oh, you got to love these two guys. These are the two best number 2 drivers that have ever existed, other than Sergio's last year with Red Bull. But
but that was the car.
It was. Valtteri Bottas has won a handful of races alongside Lewis Hamilton, so a handful of championships as well. Constructors, that is. Sergio won a handful of races, scored a hell of a lot of points, driven a good car. Like, both these guys are familiar with good racing, a fast car,
and bad cars,
even what a team and bad cars, and even what a team needs to succeed all the way around. They can paint the full picture. So coming in with a new team that has a lot of funding, that has a lot of hype for these U.S. fans as well, I think these are your two guys for it. I mean, look at Valtteri Bottas. That should tell you enough.
Bleached mullet, mustache. It's like he also is a great. It's like obviously he's from Finland.
Yeah.
But he's a great representative of the U.S. I think. Just got the mullet, got the stash. He's having fun with it, not taking it too seriously. I have higher expectations for the Cadillac than I do the Audi.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's kind of why I wanted to jump into it, because it really does I feel very stale on the Audi, and I'm not as excited about it. Whereas with the Cadillac, I think they're setting themselves up a little bit better for first entry into the sport. You got the Ferrari power unit, which you can talk about, but it seems to be like it's going pretty well already with Ferrari. They've figured something out. And I think
something brewing there. They're whether it's the battery or the engine or just, I mean, even that like 50-50 split that they have now between combustion and electric, the thing's singing. It sounds the exact same as it did last year, but that's kind of a null point. That's a good engine to drop into a new car. And that is an expensive deal too. So, they got some some cash.
Yeah, and as I said, when it comes to funding that comes in and sponsorships, I mentioned if you're from Central or Latin America, Sergio Perez comes in with some massive funding.
Major funding.
So that's a really good spot from the beginning. And then, of course, it's Cadillac. It's GM. GM has a lot of money going into it. So we have a guy who, once again, what you said, was two guys that have raced number 2 in constructors winning teams.
Oh, yeah.
Sergio sat out, so he's going to be hungry. And Valtteri was a reserve driver last year for basically any team that had a Mercedes power unit. He was a reserve driver for, but mostly for Mercedes. I just think these guys are going to be able to pull the most out of this car. Even if it is super mediocre, I do think they're going to be able to score points and probably shock some people with just good racecraft.
Yeah.
So it gets me really excited. And this is a team, I think if you're new to the sport, especially if you're from the U.S., I would jump fully on board with this team.
Full in and enjoy the first year because I think it's going to be awesome. Maybe even the first few years.
Yeah.
They are set. GM is developing their own engine, by the way. It's supposed to come 2029, 2030, which, I mean, by then we could have a full new set of regulations.
Yeah.
Who knows? So that's something to watch out for. If you start to get into this team and like it, know that they're going to do their own thing and they'll be all in-house. But for the time being, they are Ferrari engine, Ferrari gearbox.
Yeah.
They're also based in the U.S., like Adam said.
But they're in
It's a US
Silverstone.
team. But their home track is Silverstone, but
Just like Williams.
their like operational side of things, it says Charlotte and Indiana.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Zhou Guanyu is the reserve driver, which I love.
Beast.
I mean, he was the reserve for Ferrari last year, so having somebody that's familiar with those, I guess, the power units and the cars in general will be super helpful for them. Also, teammates with Valtteri Bottas at Kick while they were both drivers and Alfa Romeo. So just kind of having that relationship. I just feel like they really plugged in. They didn't do anything. They didn't really make any like stretches or leaps. They just made the moves that just made the most sense.
They just did stuff right, too.
I
mean,
agree.
Like, they check these boxes. They come in. They pass the crash test. They are on weight the first time they bring the car to the scales. Yep. They go out and do their shakedown, and the thing doesn't fall apart. Like, they're doing things the right way.
Yeah.
They have the backing, the knowledge, the team to make this really good.
Yep. I agree. I'm very, very excited about them. We've talked about it a little bit, but they're going to be my clear number 2 team behind Williams this year. But excited to see their livery. They're keeping everything pretty down in wraps, but I do think it's
going to be cool.
It's one of the more exciting things that has happened besides like the regulations itself, but having 2 extra cars out there and then 11 teams fighting is going to be super cool to see. And the nice thing is the cars are obviously smaller this year, so while there's going to be more chaos on the track because you had 2 more people to the mix, the cars should be able to, make more overpasses. There's a lot of things going on to make it a lot more racy, as they say.
Yeah, this year's going to be great. I mean, it's a great time to get into the sport. It's ground zero. It's a new team too. Like, there's never been 22 cars on the grid before, and there is this year. So
crazy.
It's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah. All right. Well, technically that's the bottom 3. Cadillac's just floating in its own world. It's not really a bottom 3, but I'm kind of how you were with Haas last year, or I guess both of us were with Haas, where we're like, dude, they're sneaky. Haas is sneaky. I think Alpine's sneaky this year. Yeah. That's who I think the sneaky team is. So
for sure,
I'm excited to see what they can do. Audi, I'm about as out on Audi as I was on Kick last year. I was proven incorrect. So let's see if that happens again. Yeah. And then Cadillac, I'm stoked on. I mean, they could have a tractor. I think I'd still be excited just because it's Valtteri and Sergio, and then just who's backing them. They got the Ferrari power unit, and they're developing everything else in-house for the future. So it'll be cool.
Right. It's great, dude. They're going to be awesome. I'm curious to see how they fare. Same with Audi, same with Alpine. All 3 teams we covered. They're at the bottom. So it's only one way to go.
See you at the top, bro.
Yep.
See you at the top. Too bad they won't be there, though, because
no, probably not.
My team's going to be totally boxing them out, dude. dude, whatever. We'll get into the. We'll get. I'm about to say we get into the better teams. All the teams are great in their own way. We'll get into
they are
the teams that placed higher last
scored
year.
more points.
Exactly. In the next episode. So stay tuned. Subscribe. If you like this format, please let us know. If you hate it, please also let us know.
Yeah.
And we'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.